And we're back with a very, very special edition of the Screen Team right here on today's talk, KWOC 93.3 FM and also 9:30 a.m. You can check us out. We're streaming at KWOC.com, and we're also on the World Wide Web at ScreenTeamPB.com. Being joined this particular episode by the very lovely, the very talented Miss Tanika. Tanika, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
You have brought in a guest.
Yes.
Who is this lovely lady right next to you?
A special guest. It's my mother.
It's your mother?
Yes.
What's her name?
Oh, it's Patricia Johnson.
Can I call you Tanika's mom?
Yes, if you please.
She's an retired English teacher, so
I'm in trouble.
She might correct us on a lot of things.
I'm the one who's usually correcting, but I think she's going to get me on some of the things. You talk about English, and we're doing kind of a show that's based on a lot of books that were made into movies, correct?
Yes, they're bestsellers. You know, books that have stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's Breakfast at Tiffany's, there's Gone with the Wind, and then there's also Moby Dick. So those are just major books.
Really?
Yeah, that have come out to movies. And the reason why I chose these movies, because I think that they did the books justice. That they were actually, some of them were better than the books, and some were kind of, you know, if they would have went with the cast they were thinking about, it wouldn't have been as great. You know, but the movies actually have stood this test of time too, you know.
So let's talk about our first movie. It's called Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes.
Obviously, it stars the very lovely Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
Before we get into the movie, did you read the book?
Yes.
How was the book?
I've read it about 3 or 4 times, and it really doesn't go too much with the movie, because this movie is like it's not completely based on the book. I mean, the characters are, but there's little things that they've changed in the characters to make the movie, because the book was actually set up for 1940s. And for her to be a so-called call girl or American geisha, which, I mean, she didn't, I don't know if I can say this on radio, but she entertained men without bringing them home.
And taking care of
that
business?
Makes sense?
Yes. Like an escort.
Yeah, so she's like a modern-day escort. So he wrote this for 1940s, which that really doesn't fit the rest of America. So when they made the movie, they set it up for the 1957, 1958. Is really the setting of, and that's the same time that he wrote the book.
Yeah.
But and it was a problem when they actually wrote the book too, before they even came out with the movie, was because they did not want to, because of Tiffany's being involved. That was a major advertiser for Harper's Bazaar, and so they were going to originally do it. There's a lot going
into this thing, then.
Yes, they were originally going to do it, but then the Hearst Company, which is the publisher, would not allow them to publish the article. So Esquire magazine is the one that ended up publishing it, and it was one of the record-breaking selling of the novel, which, you know, was part of what they printed.
Yeah. So, Mom, did you get a chance to read the book?
No, I did not read the book. I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm. And what did you think about it?
I saw it years ago with a totally different attitude. And then I saw it with Tanika, and it was, because of the time, it was totally different. And then I related it to when I was young, and like in the 50s, and to what was acceptable then. And this was really, really out there. You know, it was really the actors. I mean, they were popular during this time, but the story, the girl with going with whoever she could go with to get money, and which relates a lot to today too, though. But where she would make herself look a certain way so she could get the person with the most money.
Right.
Because that was the ultimate.
And all these guys with the most money, they weren't the most attractive looking fellows, were they?
No. Because in the book, the one guy is gay that she ended up was going after. But in the book, he was gay, and she wanted to marry him anyway. But then when in the movie they end up having him as a straight character. So,
Yeah.
What did you guys think about some of the characters in this film? Obviously, Audrey Hepburn is our main character. What did you think about her?
well, they were originally going to go with Marilyn Monroe, but she couldn't get away. She couldn't break free of her contract with the other company. So, but Audrey Hepburn, I think she brought a softness to the role compared to what the book was, and more of the because she brought out the country girl, which ended up being she was trying to make it in the city, as something more. Because when I first saw the movie, I was still in college, and I was looking at her totally different than what I look at her now, because now that I've experienced, I'm like, man, she was narcissist and she was just, totally into herself and everything. But back then I thought it was just fascinating, her clothes and her parties and everything. I was like, oh, I want to be like that, back when you're in college. But now it's like, oh, she had such an empty life.
Oh, she was and she was so selfish, and it was all about herself. And I think she was cold. I didn't think.
Yeah, she was
soft.
cold.
I didn't think she was soft at all.
And
I think she was so shallow.
she kind of reminds me of somebody that I know at my house, but we won't go into that.
Whoa!
Oh, wow! Oh no! You didn't say that, did you?
No, I did not say that. We're gonna edit that out. What about the guy who kind of plays the love interest, but not the main guy? What's his name? His name is Paul Verajak.
Yes, and it's George Peppard.
And he's on the A Team, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
he
know
is.
that,
I totally
man.
forgot that.
Yeah, that was
he
awesome.
is.
What'd you think about him?
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. What'd you think about his character?
They originally were going to go with Steve McQueen, and I don't think the part would have been as great as his. But if you go with his part, he fit more of what the book had, and I liked him. I mean, he was dreamy to look at. I tell you, I really liked him in that role.
Yeah, I did too.
But the book and the movie did not end the same either. So she ended up taking off in the actual book. She left, and then he was kind of like he went and was looking for her, was wondering what happened to her, But in the movie, they made it definitely Hollywood and made his role a lot bigger than it was in the book.
This movie is famous for so many reasons, but some of the things that really come to mind are obviously that very first scene when you see Audrey Hepburn in that beautiful, that black,
the Givenchy dress.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And
all of her clothes were Givenchy.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I mean that dress is just like so iconic.
Yes.
Of course, you have that, but you also have the song "Moon River" as well, which was
that wasn't in the book, and they were going to pull that from the movie also. And it ended up winning the Academy Award for original song, for the original music.
Yeah.
And that was Henry Mancini.
Mancini.
Yeah. It was him that ended up doing the song. So.
It's a great song. All right. We have a few more minutes here, ladies. Let's talk. Who do you think this movie is appropriate for? Who do you think would like Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Oh, that's,
women.
Yeah,
women.
It would definitely be women.
Women would love it.
Yeah. And more so the independent woman. I mean, if it, you really have to, and it's also the city. I mean, New York City becomes almost a separate character in the movie.
That's true.
And so people that want to go to New York City or have spent time in New York City that really love those city movies and they would love it. They would really enjoy it.
Well, look at all the books right now where the female gets all these dreams about, having the man take her away.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly what the movie is. Yeah. The man takes her away.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you say that she's independent, but in the movie she really isn't that independent because she always has to have a man who takes care of her, like Sally Tomato from...
Right.
Because he's paying her bills and that, like she takes a $50 for going out to eat with somebody so she can go to the bathroom and then she leaves him, So, I mean, that's how she ends up paying her bills. So, really, she's not that independent is what you think.
Something I want to bring up is about how the the movie's like a parody. Like Truman Capote made fun of people, and when you look at the movie, it's making fun of several characters. I mean,
the socialites.
Oh, when she took that cigarette and she took it into that room and had on the great big long thing, and she burned that woman's hat, and just things like that, you could see where he's really laughing at these people.
Yeah.
Because that's something about Truman Capote, his personality.
Well, yeah, right before his death, he ended up coming out with a tell-all and of all these socialites. And he did the exact same thing. He ended up telling, all of their secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on Truman.
Yep.
Very interesting character. Wow. Breakfast at Tiffany's came out in around 1961, stars Audrey Hepburn. Check it out on DVD. I believe it's also streaming on Amazon Prime. So
yes.
If you got that, check it out. Okay. Coming up after the break, we're going to review Gone with the Wind, one of the greatest movies of all time, one of the greatest books of all time. We'll talk about that next on KWOC.